Hello, and how are you this beautiful Sunday, not Sunday, sorry, sunny morning? How are you? Despite the beautiful blue skies that are prominent and rich in the skies, unfortunately, today's news is not as jolly as the weather. And the reason being, many of us in the Western world, we love to use the word democracy. We live in a democracy, and they're all jealous of our freedom. They're all jealous of our freedom. We love to tease other nations and pretend that they're missing out on our freedom. You ask, what do you mean freedom? Define freedom. Well, we can vote one tyranny government against another tyranny government, and once we elect them into power, they do what they want without consulting the people. I do not regard that to be democracy or true freedom. Do you? Maybe you can enlighten me. I'm only a simple musician, as you can see. I'm only a simple artist, so maybe you could educate me and remind me, maybe, what is the true definition of democracy? Why are you free compared to anybody else in the unenlightened, uncivilized, savage world? Maybe you can define it to me, why you're so free. And if you are so free, I want to ask the question. The UK government said that they are treating divulging information to you, the free people, to you who claim you're democratic, or sorry, you believe in democracy. They're treating this information as sensitive. Sensitive. You know what sensitive means? It hurts. Oh, tickle me. Oh, it hurts. I'm so sensitive. Oh, I'm sensitive. You put a fingernail on a person and they get ticklish. That's what means sensitive. In other words, it's not good for the public taste, because sensitivity means that people will see you for what you are. Take off the mask and they'll be shocked. Sensitivity. They will see your true nature, your true makeup, what you really stand for. And what's interesting, the government said that under David Cameron, who was funding jihad groups that was operating, these are ISIS, Hamza, sorry, what do you call it? Hamza, what do you can never pronounce it? ISIS groups, Al-Qaeda, jihadists were operating in London, and they were funded by David Cameron and had links with Saudi Arabia. Now look, let me break this down for you. Saudi Arabia is like a fat pig, a big fat oil pig, and all the little piglets, no shame, are sucking up the titties of the big pig, Arabian pig, Saudi Arabian pig. And as a result, there's going to be conflict of interest, meaning we're fighting against terror, but at the same time they need Saudi Arabia's resources. And Saudi Arabia is saying, well, if you fund Al-Qaeda, if you fund ISIS, if you fund all these jihadist terrorist groups which were operating in London, we will give you oil. We then have to ask the question, for all you patriotics out there, for all you soldiers or potential soldiers who are fighting for your country, What exactly is the war on terror? What war? How can I claim I'm on your side if I'm funding your enemies to kill your generation or your previous generation or your family and kinsfolk? How can I claim I'm your ally and yet I'm funding your enemies? Maybe you could find a word for me, because in the language of the Native American it seems that you're speaking with forked tongue. That's new to me. That here I have friends and my friends have been attacked by enemies, and yet I'm going to fund the enemies yet claim I love my friends. I don't understand that psychology. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough. Maybe you can educate me. However, what I will tell you, in The Guardian is stated that Theresa May said, "You don't deserve to know." Go to hell, you pig, you savage, you illiterate, you fool for voting them in. You don't deserve to know, meaning you can cope with that kind of information, meaning they want to put on a good face. They want to put on a good face, and you know something, and you continue to vote them. But if they were to divulge the sensitive records of what they're really up to, there would be a mutiny, an insurrection, a revolution. Why do you think that people who join the army, why do you think they taught not to think? I've had friends who've been in the army. They taught not to think, just carry out duties, because in fact many ex-armies have spoken out against this wicked terrorist government. Many ex-armies have spoken out, and I'm doing another video regarding the army, how the government has stabbed their own patriotic army in the back. Stabbed their own, while they're looking after the Muslims, taking care of Arabs, they stab their own patriotic army in the back. But your country needs you, your country loves you, and they stab you in your back. That's my next video. Don't worry, that's coming hot. So you ask yourself the question, what are you fighting for? What do you stand for? Why go in the army when you're fighting against the enemy, the same enemy the government is funding? Does that make sense to you? Maybe you're part of this matrix. Maybe you can explain it. After all, the demon knows the devil and the devil knows the demons. They know the trick language of technology. Maybe there is order in this cesspool of unethical, wicked capitalism. Maybe there's order in it. But it's not for you or I to know. Why should angels tread in the devil's domain? Why should innocent people tread in darkness? And when you're looking at the game of politics, where the government can claim we're fighting against the war on terror, and your taxes are paying for the government funding terrorism, your taxes are paying for it. I don't know how strong to make this video awaken you, but your government are deceiving you. The mere fact that it says sensitive information, what other information are they hiding from us? What other information are they hiding from you? They think you don't deserve to know. You're a baby. You don't deserve to know. You can vote them in power when it suits them, but then you don't deserve to know. Go to hell. You tripe, you peasant. Go to hell. Get away from me. You don't deserve to know. And that's how the government treat us. I got more powerful videos coming out exposing this wicked government system. That's why I don't vote, because whether we like it or not, they all sponsor terrorists. When you cry, "Oh, they're trying to kill us," No, your own government funded it. Anything I'm telling you, if I can't back it up, please take me to court. Take me to court. Hire the best lawyer you've got. The best lawyer, the best attorney. I won't hire nobody. I'll bring my own documents, my own archives, my historical papers, my own resources, and my own goddamn intellect. I won't bring nobody, just myself. Bring the best lawyers you've got, the best. Every government that we vote for sponsor terrorism. The same government that make laws to control you. Oh, it's all about making you free. It's all about making you free. You live in the West, so you're superior. Really? Really? Try condemning Muslim terrorism and see how free you really are. You need to understand the game that the governments are playing with your lives. I remember I was having a rather light lunch with my friend a couple of months ago, and before he had cancer, and we got talking in Costa Coffee, and this guy was sort of listening, you know, he could hear us talking, and he says, wow, it's so refreshing to hear someone talking the truth, talking politics, without being afraid, without being controlled. A lot of us, we're scared to dig beneath the surface, to see our government for what they really are. They make war on us and liberate the Muslim terrorist. But I promise you, one day you will see the truth of my words. Our government, they fund Muslim extremists because they want oil, and yet they then tell you, they're trying to kill you because you're free. It's a lie. Your taxes are going to Al-Qaeda, ISIS. Research it. Please research it. As I said, before you insult me, hire your best lawyers and tell them to watch this video. The best lawyers you have or can afford. And I tell you something, I know you won't do it. You know why? Because everyone knows the government sponsored terrorism. Just like when Britain sponsored Muslim terrorists to bomb America, and America supported the Irish to bomb Britain, and this was during their friendship. America and Britain was like Romeo and Juliet, and Britain and America were like Romeo and Juliet, and yet America was funding the Irish IRA to fund Britain, and Britain was funding the Muslim terrorists to bomb America, and yet they were friends. Read the book Long Downing Stand by Melanie Phillips, and you will see you can't trust your leaders. Even though it's a beautiful sky outside and the sun is shining, I regret to inform you that the videos will get stronger and stronger until some of us awaken to see that we are being manipulated by a system of evil, cunning, devil devils who work in high places. They carry out wars, orchestrated wars, funding wars, bankers' wars, making money from people's misery and pain. But we don't want to see that, because as long as we have a nice shirt and nice chain and beautiful things, we don't want to see that. It affects us too much. So we try to see the good in evil. We try to see the good in evil. And the Bible says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. So if you're against terrorism, you're evil. But if you're for terrorism, as long as for capitalism and you benefit from it, then you're good. We live in a crazy world today.
You can't handle the truth.